Look, it's 2009. There's plenty of time to speculate. It's fun to talk about all these names. Give me another name that we might hear.
John Thune.
Yes.
Senator of South Dakota, knocked off Tom Daschle, who's the majority leader in the U.S. Senate. He's up for re-election next year, but I do think he's someone who will strongly consider running. I don't think Haley Barbour, as unique a candidate as he would be, you know, he was party chairman for the Republican National Committee, a very, very successful one, but he was also a lobbyist. But you know what? If anyone could overcome those things, Haley Barbour can. He has a brilliant, brilliant mind, and he's been a phenomenally successful governor of Mississippi.
Very charming. And one other name is Jim DeMint. And I'm not sure what, you know, the senator from South Carolina, and I'm not sure where he's going with all of this. He's really stoking the flames, really appealing heavily to this Tea Party movement, trying to bring the Republican Party to be more conservative and more based on principles. I'm not sure if that's an inside the Senate game or if that is a presidential aspiration game, but he's someone to watch.
He's definitely someone to watch. Now, he's one of Mitt Romney's biggest backers. So.
Yes, that's a great point.
But James is right. He is a guy. He's certainly an up-and-comer in the Senate, and James hit all the points.
At what point does the GOP, the National Party, have to look at this and say, all right, we need to identify, or at least start leaning towards someone to become the voice of the GOP? Again, there's still plenty of time. But in the political world, 3 years passes very fast.
You're right. I mean, it's a problem for Republicans right now because Michael Steele, who's the chairman of the RNC, hasn't been able to coalesce Republicans toward a single voice. But, you know, I don't think it's going to happen, Josh. I think we're going to have leaders in the Republican Party who will be a voice, but from different areas at different times. I think John McCain will continue to be a voice in the U.S. Senate. But we're going to have governors, one or two of them who will be a voice on behalf of governors in different states. I don't think we're going to see one voice against Democrats in the next few years.
But Josh, I don't think this is a problem. I don't think having one person as the exalted person to speak on behalf of the party is not nearly as advantageous of what is actually happening within the party, which is a coalescing around one idea, which is taxes and spending and fiscal conservatism, which has united the party. You see it in the Senate race here in the primary. Everyone's on message on this thing, and you're going to probably see it in the state house races as well. The fact that they could coalesce around something because they were not able to with George Bush and a number of other things, and government spending too. The idea that they could actually agree on something, particularly an issue that's so central in this state, not social values, for example, so central in this state, I think is actually a lot. If I'm a Republican, I'm actually going to be a lot more happy about that.
And 2010 will be the first indication of how that works. Mm-hmm. And I think more generally will be the anti-Obama administration on being out of touch with people across the country.
Speaking of 2010 and the Senate race itself, the candidate's been relatively quiet. We're going to hear some fourth quarter fundraising numbers here in a couple of weeks. But recently there was, maybe the general public doesn't know the name, but William Binney, or Bill Binney from Rye, had a major coup in his campaign, a lot of people think, by bringing on one of John Sununu's longtime confidants, Mr. Collins. What's your take? What does that signal to you?
Well, it signals a couple of things. Number one, that I think everyone knew Bill Binney was serious. But number two, that he's able to get someone who has a long history in New Hampshire with a number of different officials and some of the most popular Republican officials New Hampshire's ever had, and Charlie Bass and John E. Sununu and John H. Sununu. So congratulations to Bill Binney. It's a big pickup for him. But that doesn't change the fact that it's not individuals like Paul Collins or endorsements that'll win in the end. It's going to all be about, like what James was just talking about, message and who can connect best with voters, who can get them out to vote, and who has the best ideas to move New Hampshire and the country forward.
It's actually been a really interesting week in terms of the Senate race. I think you had a number of things sort of subtly making its way in the last couple of months. I think Kelly Ayotte became a much better candidate. And then this week, you sort of seen a dynamic where Ovid Lamontagne, at the beginning of the week, really took that mantle as, I'm going to be the grassroots, the ideological candidate. And we saw him getting some national press for it, fan the flames a bit. Obviously, it was helped when the National Senatorial Committee set up a joint fundraising committee with Kelly Ayotte. And so it then became like almost like a two-person race. We heard the rumors about Paul Collins 2 or 3 weeks ago, and frankly, I didn't believe it, and really now other people believed it. But when it happened, the question is now, is this now a three-person race? And what happens with Jim Bender, and where does that go? But the game changer here was not Paul Collins being hired by Bill Binney. The game changer is and always will remain Bill Binney's wallet and his ability to use that wallet. It was that wallet.
His willingness.
Is his willingness. He's the reason why he's not seen as a crackpot running for the U.S. Senate. It's because of his money. It's the reason why he's able to hire Paul Collins. And it's the reason. And his wallet is the scariest thing right now for the Republican Party. His ability to go nuclear. If he happens to hit Kelly Ayotte in February, in March, or even to July, and consistently take down that front runner, who knows what's going to happen?
And it's all going to heat up in the coming weeks and months ahead.
It is. I don't think Bill Binney or any candidate will go nuclear on anyone anytime soon. I think they'll remain cordial, and then summertime is when most of that will happen. But
So we'll be talking a lot about it.
Yes, we will.
Gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us.